So I am here for part 2 of reading along with Miss B for Julie Fights for Survival. So I will be reading paragraphs 11 through 20. In the last read along, we read paragraphs 1 through 10, where Julie faced a certain problem. She faced 2 problems actually, and I asked that you identify both of the problems and talk about them on a Flipgrid video. So if you haven't done that, please check out Tuesday's slides. But now we're going to read paragraphs 11 through 20 to see what happens after Julie faces those problems. All right, so just give me 1 second here. Nice little trick I have to keep that from being in the way. So we left off here, where it says, "Yet its light and loving scent gave her a sense of security, and she smiled at the sun, dressed, and put her mind to inventing boots." Paragraph 11, here we go. Wrapping the drag around one foot and her sleeping skin around the other, she clomped awkwardly through the grass in a wider and wider circle, hoping that Jello, having eaten her meat, would have abandoned the pack. She did not care about the food anymore. Her ulo and needles and matches were more important to find. With them, she could make shoes, hunt, and cook. She marveled at how valuable these simple things were. How beautiful and precious. With them, she could make a home, a larder, a sled, and clothes. And the cold air was equally precious. With it she could, like her father, freeze leather and sinew into sleds, spears, and harpoons. She would not die here if she could find her ulo and needles. As she carefully searched the ground, she began to think about Seal Camp. The old Eskimos were scientists too. By using the plants, animals, and temperature, they had changed the harsh Arctic into a home. A feat as incredible as sending rockets to the moon. She smiled. The people at Seal Camp had not been as outdated and old-fashioned as she had been led to believe. No, on the contrary, they had been wise. They adjusted to nature instead of to man-made gadgets. "Aye!" she gasped. On the side of the ground swell lay Jello, his body torn in bloody shreds, his face contorted. Beside him lay her backpack. Instantly she knew what had happened. Amarak had turned on him. Once Capugan had told her that some wolves had tolerated a lone wolf until the day he stole meat from the pups. With that, the leader gave a signal and his pack turned, struck, and tore the lone wolf to pieces. There is no room in the wolf society for an animal who cannot contribute, he had said. Jello had been so cowed he was useless, and now he was dead. Slowly she opened her back. The food was gone, but her needles, ulo, and boots were tucked in the pockets where she had put them. They were now more wonderful to Mayax than airplanes, ocean liners, and the great wide bridges. As she put on her shoes, she checked for her man's knife and matches. They were there too. Life was hers again. Slinging her pack onto her shoulders, she placed a stone at Jello's head and turned away. "You've got to be a super wolf to live," she said. Poor Jello was not. She left him to the Jaegers and foxes. "Amarak, my wolf friend," she sang as she walked along. "Amarak, my adopted father." Reaching Point Hope seemed less important, now that she had come to truly understand the value of her ulo and needles. If she missed the boat, she could live well until another year. Her voice rang out happily as she sang and followed the birds and her compass. So I hope you enjoyed that reading. Please stay posted. Next week, you will be answering some questions about what some of what we read meant. And so I hope you enjoyed. Please listen to it a few times, read it on your own, whatever works for you, so that you feel like you really understand what this story is. Bye, scholars.